Hello and good evening. This is your boy Vaughn B, and this is GNC TV. How are you doing? All right, let me turn my mic up a little bit. All right, well, looks like I'm flying solo today. I'm a little tired, so I don't know how long I am going to at least talk about some stuff today. They got a couple of interesting things. It's not much going on in terms of entertainment, but eh, I was trying to figure out how to use OBS to come into this thing because I can play some background music, and I'm not sure that that works on this because I think you can upload something, but I don't know how long. Let's see how long it's gonna. Right. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I can find what the stimulating television. Okay, what am I looking for? Uh, I just saw this. Maybe it's huh. Yeah, that's crazy. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know if anyone's watching, so probably something I should have did before. Oh, here it is. Mm. Yeah, it's only 30 gigabytes. Mm. All right, well, I was just trying to get something that at least perk me up a little bit. But my quick review of the last episode of Alien Earth is don't bother, it was stupid. Uh, this show is completely predicated on everyone being an idiot, making dumb decisions that make entirely no sense. I don't know if the people who write this show actually understand how most things work. Um, they don't know how, if you have a ship that is in terminal velocity heading towards the Earth, when it hits the ground, it's gonna the kinetic energy from something that big hitting a city would destroy the city. If you are on the ship, unless you have some means of im- i- uh, immersion dampening or something like that, some Star Trek type stuff, you're gonna get squashed like a bug. So the fact that Morrow survived that crash was amazing. And then it turns into a series of things where the people who, again, wrote this don't understand how corporations work. One person doesn't control the whole thing. So the boy genius can't make these retarded decisions that he was doing without consulting his board. Right? That's just not how it works. Uh, you can't decide to throw away years and years of work working on how to be immortal by putting people into robot bodies and then send those robot bodies into a dangerous situation which could have led to them being destroyed. Then having those same just the fact that the way that everything was situated was there was no monitoring on the children. what they were doing, what they were looking at, nothing. The only two scientists you saw were the dude and his wife, psychiatrist lady. Then the other scientists would just show up out of no place, and then they would disappear again. You went from having no security to an entire army, back to no security to an entire army. Nobody like checking on the kid, nothing. You put 10 year olds in bodies that were stronger than humans, faster than humans, no kind of monitoring, no kind of a means to shut them down. So when one flips out and starts attacking people, their best bet was just to shoot it full of holes and eventually electrocute it so that it would go down. And in the next episode, it's perfectly fine. Then you put them into a cage that you admit during the show that they'll be able to get out of. Why why would you put them in their robot bodies? You should be able to shut them down, which you prove later on in the episode when apparently the right hand man to the boy genius is an adult in one of those robot bodies, which you said at the beginning of the show that the reason why you chose children is because adults couldn't handle going into those bodies, but apparently they could. At least that guy did. There was a lot of coincidences. The fact that the scientist lady who is just walking, she's walking around the island. There's a xenomorph loose. No security, no nothing. She just walking over to where their children's graves are to lay flowers. Um, the xenomorph sees her, is about to eat her, but hesitates for some reason. Just long enough for it to be shot in the head by one of the miscellaneous friends of the brother, who it just nicked it in the head and it ran away. Now this thing has been offing security guards left and right all over the place. I don't know what kind of suggestions Wendy gave it, but one of them must have been to just get rid of all the security on the island. The security guard, the security, is dumb. They are going in smaller units to attack this thing. Somehow, this xenomorph is bulletproof and cannot be tracked. Both things are not true. Which if you watch any of the aliens movies, you know that they're not bulletproof and they can be tracked. And the previous episode, they find a little tiny one. So they found a little tiny one with no problem, but they can't find a bigger one who's killing them. But it was scared off from small arms fire from the security detachment that's friends of the brother, but somehow were able to fend off the larger contingent of soldiers who had better weapons. And the security detention folks were going to the armory to get better weapons, which clearly is not helping the army of people who are hunting for the xenomorph. And it's just more and more stuff like that, where it just like this doesn't make any sense. So it just makes me think that they had an idea of what they want. They, again, like I keep saying at every episode, they just could not figure out how to actually do any of this stuff, but they just did it anyway. So this is why you don't do prequels, because in a prequel, you actually have to follow along with the established history that is already set up. When the Alien movie came out in the 70s, this supposedly takes place right before that movie does. They were able to Ripley was able to fend this thing off with little to no weapons and survive to be able to go to, the next thing. And an entire island full of soldiers can't do that. Mostly because the story doesn't want you to. And Wendy is able to control all of these computer stuff on the island. The boy genius knows that. His second in command knows that. All other scientists know that. They just kind of let it go. Like Then, she has all this power, and then you basically lie to her constantly. She's a child, and just like most people, they don't really like most people don't like being lied to. Children will take that at a children will kind of take that a little bit more harshly than an adult will because an adult kind of understands, yeah, this person is lying to me, but maybe they have a reason. Child won't see it that way. Just like how Wendy was upset at her brother because her brother shot the redhead girl, even though the redhead girl was in the process of killing all of his friends, and he basically had no choice. But somehow her brother was the bad guy. So it was just a series of stuff, and like I don't recommend you watch it. It's like I really, if I was having a discussion with some other people who watched it, they may be able to like to talk about it more, but eh, not really. So I can't think of what's coming next. I think there's a Visions thing for Star Wars, so hopefully that might be interesting. I have no interest in the zombie thing, especially after I've heard about it and how terrible that is. It's like television right now is just not good, and it's like harder and harder to find stuff to talk about because most of the stuff that there is to talk about, is don't really care about. Like Jimmy Kimmel, never watched Jimmy Kimmel. It's like I haven't. They're trying to turn this thing into some kind of free speech thing. It's like, oh, you can say whatever you want. This is one of the things that when they were banning conservatives left and right, it's like, well, you're not free from consequences. All right. There's a line that you cannot cross when it comes to certain topics. Like one of which is laughing at someone's demise. People have a tendency to not like that. And when they do, they make their voices heard. And advertisements tend to not like it when boycotts and conservatives have been really good lately with voicing their opinions on stuff. Like they don't go out, they don't burn anything, nothing like that. They just stop. I said with whatever. So that's what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. And people say, oh, cry, whine, cry, whatever. Like, dude. But in reality, I just don't care. It's like I looked at all of the varieties and all that stuff. A lot of things I just don't care about because it's not that interesting. There's a lot of troubles in the world. I find myself wanting to more and more want to look for more positive stuff. So you say something crazy, it's like, all right, whatever. That's just how you feel. All right. I ain't gotta associate myself with that or paying any attention to it. Yeah. All right. That's enough dedicated to that terrible show. Again, I I was trying to look at other people's reviews of it so I can get because I only watched it once, so that I can get a refresh of the episode. It's like looked at Nerdrotic talked about it. I looked at Angry Joe. I don't know what show Angry Joe was looking at because he was somehow super disappointed in this particular episode. I'm like, I don't know why it's been terrible and nonsensical from the beginning. For some reason, he thought it was great in the beginning. Hey, that's his opinion. All right, so there is a story I did see though where they're starting the replacement of actors and actresses. So if I can find this, where's that? All right, okay, there it is. Yeah, a talent agency is looking to sign an AI person, so that looked like that might be interesting. Mhm. All right, Hollywood is planning to sign their first AI generated star, which is crazy, especially given how where the state that AI is actually in right now. One of those things where it's being pushed a lot, and the information you get from ChatGPT and various other sites is accurate to a point, but is only as accurate as the database that it's looking into. And as anyone who's been on the internet for any amount of time that reality and the internet are sometimes not that close. All right, so Hollywood agencies may be on the verge of signing an artificial intelligence generated actress, Tilly Norwood. The arrival of AI in Hollywood has been a big story in recent years. That's it 2 strikes over it, including it being a key issue in the 2023 actor and writer strikes. Deadline reporting that the Zurich Summit, reporting from the Zurich Summit, has shared that Elaine Vander Velden, an actor, comedian, and technologist who has launched an AI talent studio, Zcoa, said that she was in talks with several talent agencies who are interested in signing. That's not how you spell signing. The AI generated Norwood in turn has sparked some strong reactions from those opposed to what a move like this could mean. One, Hollywood can't make human superstars anymore. Like, think about all the people who in all the movies that you've watched that you have any interest in. Most of them are in their 50s, 40s, late 30s. They don't. There's no like young ones. They keep trying, and people just keeps like whatever. So they can't break a star. So to think that they can do it to an AI generated one, I don't know. Should be interesting, I guess. Okay. During a discussion on AI developments in the entertainment industry, Vander Velden said that AI is becoming something that studios and other companies are beginning to accept, and a major public announcement will be coming in the near future. She was quoted, "We're in a lot of boardrooms around February time, and everyone was like, no, this is nothing. It's not going to happen." Then by May, people were like, we need to do something with you guys. When we were first launched Tilly, people were like, what is that? And now we're going to be announcing which agency is going to be representing her in the next few months. As the news became widely known, many have shared their reactions, including many voicing their displeasure at the news on X. Someone named Zoe Rose, beyond bleak but dying to at putting all this work into creating an AI actress only to give her a dumbass name. Okay. F Tilly Nolan, let's cancel her immediately. So I don't know how the internet is like super fake. So I don't know which one of these are actually real, because the one thing that is currency on the internet is engagement. So if you can't have all positive, actually negative works better. So you can do a bunch of bots to attack this to make it seem more enticing, to get more and more people to talk about it, which pushes it up in the algorithm, which makes it seem like it's more and more important. So like all this could be fake. So you have bots fussing at a news thing about a fake person. So it's fake yelling at fake. Multiple talent agencies are reporting on AI actress Tilly Nolan getting interest from real life talent agents. The future is officially here, and it's signing contracts before it even has a heartbeat. Hollywood's next star might not need a trailer, just a server. If Skynet starts dropping Oscar-worthy, okay, Skynet starts dropping Oscar-worthy performance, we'll know where it began. Yeah, this is much to do. So let's see. AI information. All right.
We all knew TV was dead, but thought, why not squeeze in one last development meeting?
We had one rule: no missing children, no dead women, and no reboots of Heartbeat.
We'd pitched this beautiful comedy, two sisters running a funeral parlour in Margate. Warm, weird, very BBC Two.
The commissioner said no. AI generated 100 better ideas in minutes, perfectly aligned to channel data, viewing figures, and optimized for the audience. The winning AI format?
I know what you streamed last summer.
An interactive thriller built from your streaming history.
and Deliveroo orders.
What?
And who could forget the mental health format?
Britain's Got Breakdown. Audience votes on who gets therapy.
Ian Katz loved that one. I remember saying, "You do realise this is for BBC Two?" It tested ridiculously well, particularly among men who shop at Screwfix and women obsessed with gut health.
All made for less than the catering budget on The Bear.
It cast and budgeted itself. Only bit it struggled with was consent in romantic scenes. We just ignored that.
It wrote the whole script. Claude 3, Gemini, GPT. We called it a writer's room. It even did its own Silvermouse paperwork and immediately got Albert certified.
What's Silvermouse?
Just an elaborate BBC hazing ritual. Who did it cast?
Tilly Norwood, 100% AI generated.
By some company called Particle 6.
She'll do anything I say. I'm already in love.
Girl Next Door vibes.
Like if a Sunday roast went to drama school and got BAFTA optimized.
But can she cry on Graham Norton?
Of course she can. And it'll be clipped, subtitled, and monetized on TikTok by lunchtime. We're all going to hell. Got recommissioned, didn't it? 3 seasons and a podcast.
By an AI commissioner, much faster.
But hey, at least it wasn't a reboot.
Yeah, that was terrible. Okay. They can't get people to talk about their news shows. And that thing was DEI'd up to the hilt. It's like all white people, either old or fat, except for the dude at the end. Like, people don't want this stuff. Yet they're just pushing it anyway. Which makes it harder and harder to like find stuff to talk about in terms of yeah, my internet's tripping. Awesome. But nothing about that was entertaining. Nothing about that was it's like meh. Like most of the movies are meh. It's like, they think that they can make a formula for stuff, and that's kind of when Marvel fell off. Is when they formulated everything. So instead of each one being their own unique kind of thing, Thor wasn't like Captain America, which wasn't like Iron Man, which wasn't like Spider-Man, which yada yada yada. They all turned into the Guardians of the Galaxy, goofy one-liners that were ill-placed and didn't fit like what was going on the screen. You would do something that has some substance to it, and then someone would tell a stupid joke, and then it's like it would just ruin whatever momentum that you had. When I heard about the Marvel Zombies, it was clear because it takes forever to do animation. And so when he wrote this story, it was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. They thought that all the diversity characters that you were gonna like them. They thought that you was gonna like the Thunderbolts and Riri Williams and Kamala Khan and all that stuff. So apparently that's all Marvel Zombies is it's full of these characters that nobody cares about. So nobody's gonna watch this. Just like they can sign as many AI generated people as they want. It's gonna be a niche thing that hardly anybody's gonna talk about because people want real stuff. The people who find success online are authentic. They're not fake, phony, or anything like that. So you create something that is the epitome of phony. It's not going to work. So, all right, let's get on to something else. But it's another AI thing. Where is there we go. It's a trailer for an AI generated short that was, I think, who's it, Cannes? The film festival, yeah. All right, make sure it's all right. Tech bros take aim at Cannes with Gen AI produced animated feature Critterz, a AI heavy animated feature, which people. That's another thing people aren't really feeling anymore. Is these overly like special effect type stuff. I miss 2D. I miss 2D animation. Just they have not been able to capture the feeling that you get from a 2D animation, which is part of the reason why I think like manga and anime, well, not manga, but anime is so big, because a lot of that is 2D, but they do throw some 3D elements in it. But for the most part, it's drawn by somebody, and they cannot get the soul into 3D animation, even after all this time. It's like the closest has been Toy Story, and then they sucked all the life out of that thing. All right, last week on What You Done broke the news that OpenAI is backing a previously announced feature-length film, Critterz, which will rely on extensive input from generative AI during its production. Planned for Cannes debut in 2026. The project is being produced by London's Vertical Films and LA's Native Foreign, with OpenAI providing the tools and the computing power. The pitch was simple: make a film in 9 months under 30 million instead of the usual several years and 100 million plus. A well-planned and inspired film from a major Hollywood studio would take. Voice actors and a handful of artists will contribute, but much of the animation and design will be generated by OpenAI's models. Story: a willing adventure by Creatures whose village was upended by a stranger. First developed by OpenAI staffer Chad Nelson as a short, which screened a few low-end festivals in both ignominious 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb. On a side note, the fact that United actors kept attaching themselves to these kinds of projects while fighting to have their own voices protected feels particularly cynical.
Cameras check, microphone check. Excellent, brilliant. Here we are, planet Earth. It's a Dennis, and welcome to a forest filled with little critters.
To you!
Oh dear, I've eaten the wrong berries.
Nope, it ain't the berries.
What? Who are you?
I'm Frank.
And I'm blue, which is weird, because I'm a red spider.
I cannot call you Frank or Blue. This is a science documentary.
Like you just love...
I'm simply here to make a science program, and all you little critters...
Oh, again with the little.
Unbelievable.
Wow. I wouldn't want to sit through 2 hours of that. The backers of selling Critterz experiment in democratization. Wait, what the hell? Democratization animation. What the hell does that even mean? All right, see if I look this up, what that even means. Making process of creating animated content more accessible, less expensive, and available to a wider range of people, not just large studios. Okay. All right. Yeah, that happened in music when you got people being able to download $30 apps on their phones. What happened was music got terrible, because just because you want to do a thing, that doesn't mean you actually have talent. So you have it's just a lot of generic stuff over and over and over again. And then you throw on top of that a handful of people who figured out that people like a certain chord progressions. So they use the same chord progressions in most music. That's why it all sounds the same. There is no and so instead of having a studio full of musicians who are vibing off of each other to create something, and no, what you have is a guy by himself, and this is coming from a person who makes music. You have a guy by himself. All inspiration is just from them. Now, there are a handful of people who are talented enough, but that's okay. A lot of people aren't. And a lot of songs that you like were happy accidents. Is somebody didn't play this right, or somebody did this wrong differently, sped it up, slowed it down, played it on the upbeat, played it on the downbeat, changed the song enough where it added some flavor to it that it would have been kind of flat. and then that causes other people to expand upon that. If you go online, there's numerous of stories of these classic songs where that is what happened. You don't really get that by yourself. Now, I have said in the past that AI will allow more and more people to create stuff who the way things headed, where it's like a lot of gatekeeping. So there's a lot of stories that you probably wouldn't have heard because of that. But the problem with that though is when you open it up to anybody, then you get a lot of crap. Go look up a science fiction book on Amazon right now and see what you any kind of book, any fictional story, love stories, horror stories, or whatever. You have to go through mountains and mountains of crappy books before you get to really good ones. The thing about when the gatekeeping when it came to books is you can have a company that routinely put out really good authors, authors, right? And you knew that by the name of the company that the writer was probably going to be fairly good because they didn't really sign terrible writers. But it being open to anybody now you got a lot of people who don't understand, and this goes back to Alien Earth, is the person who's writing that doesn't understand the science of what they're writing. So they don't actually get, so that's why the stories are lacking. Because there's no one, it's a lot of copying. So and that's only going to get worse when you throw in AI on top of that. And there's a lot of people who you just don't have any talent. I mean, look at the biggest corporate American Idol. How many people go out for American Idol and you just like, bro, I don't know why are you here? You can't sing that well. Just because you want to be a singer, that don't mean you can be a singer because you can't really sing that well. And you get an expert who knows what they're looking for, tell you like, all right, well, you need to work on this and on that, and you don't want to hear that because in your brain you're perfect. And that's what I'm afraid of this, because that doesn't look good. One, the characters aren't moving; they're just kind of standing in place and moving their arms a little bit and moving their mouth. That's kind of where we're at in terms of the AI stuff. It's like if you want to go look at even you like go look at when Tarzan and Aladdin and when Disney was at his like had a revival and it was great. The Hercules, it's just the way that they used to draw stuff. If you go back even in that like in the 80s and you look at like anime, like mecha anime, some of it looks a little funky because of budgets and whatever, but they used to draw the exteriors of ships and you would get like a sweeping shot on the side of the ship and it have all the detail on it, and it was a camera movement that would be almost impossible to be done. Because it's just the way that the ship is moving and things are happening, and it's the way that it's going around the ship. And like that was hand drawn. Maybe in another 20 years, you'll get something Pixar like. I don't think that they're there yet. Your best bet is to lessen the amount of the grunt work, but you still do most of it with humans. It just allows less people. You can get a more specialized group, but you still need the humans. Like, and it completely edge. It's just going to be like slop, and that's like what a lot of stuff on kind of is. And I'm kind of guilty of that to a degree because, like I said, I make music, and then I have like another channel where I just make like a simple AI generated animation to go on top of the music that I make. Like the music that I make is the music that I make. But I would much prefer to have someone who can draw and do 2D animation do that for me because I think it will look better. And I think that's probably what I'm gonna try to work on next year is finding someone who can do that. But they keep trying to push stuff that's not ready yet. So animation is however meant you said by talent, effort, and inspiration. Yeah. It is like many creative endeavors already democratic and that in that anyone, anywhere, almost with any skill level and with a few basic resources can be involved and create something impactful if they're willing to put in the time and work. Yeah. Okay. Flow, the most recent film with an animated level Oscar, was made by a small team in Latvia working on free software with a budget smaller than what an A-list voice actor is paid for a major with Hollywood picture. And that's another thing they need to get away from. Voice acting and being an actor are two different things, because a lot of times you get these famous people who are doing voice acting, they don't know how to emote properly. So it sounds flat. But a very good voice actor can emote, can say a lot of stuff with their voice. And it helps bring life to the characters too. So that's another issue. In reality, Critterz feels like a shot across the bow for the entire animation industry by those unwilling or incapable of contributing any meaningful way. If AI can replace years of labor from hundreds of artists by a team feeding prompts into software, yeah, not yet. What happens to the craft of animation and the lives built around it? What happens when the narratives we are given are crafted by algorithms rather than inspiration? You get like YouTube. You eventually the algorithm will wall you off and you don't get any new experiences because it's so busy trying to feed you stuff that you were looking at in the past. It doesn't allow you to see off into stuff in the future, if you get what I mean. And that's going to be the same thing. It's just like your TV is just going to show you the stuff that you were looking at. And it's like, unless you force it to go off the beaten path by actively looking for different stuff, it's just going to show you stuff. They got like YouTubers who have like ridiculous amount of subscribers that I have never heard of because I never see them. It's like I keep hearing about Mr. Beast. Nothing that he does ever shows up in any of the feeds that I have because I don't watch anything that's like what he does. And the dude has a ridiculous amount of subscribers. I just don't see none of it because it's not in my algorithm. And eventually what's going to happen is it's going to force us away from the shared experience. And that is what makes us human, is the shared experience. And if you're walled off to your own little thing, then we will lose that. All right. All this mentioning that many LLM models were trained on stolen materials without the consent of original. Yes. Studios so far have tread carefully with AI. Disney, Universal, Warner Brothers are already in court over copyright claims against AI image generators. Midjourney has countered, arguing that the studios were using AI, Gen AI in their pipelines, or at least experimenting with it, and only targeting a company as a potential competitor. Whether Critterz lands as a novelty or watershed moment, it underscores attention at the heart of the AI debate. For those who are making a living in the animation industry, the move would hardly be festive when and if Critterz makes its Cannes debut. I don't know. That's supposed to be like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that probably goes on in cons that I probably wouldn't care about. So we'll see some of the comments. These projects doesn't give me too much attention. Can't anyone see how horrifying and bland these characters are? Yes. I try to cut back on covering individual titles in favor of larger trends when it comes to AI, but this one being bankrolled by OpenAI, so it felt like important to catalog it. That's the inherent flaw in AI. The blandness will never go away if all AI does is repeat patterns. Yeah, it doesn't create anything. It just combines everything into a new thing, but it doesn't add anything. So it's like, I think I've heard comparisons where it's like, well, isn't that what you do? Because you learn how to draw and all that. And you take inspirations from other things. Like, yeah, but you also add your own flavor. And AI, the computer can't do that because it doesn't know how to do that. So all it can do is make mishmash or this potato salad of this other stuff. So you get like a new potato salad, but that's all you get. Alrighty, short of getting less aggregated, but okay, they wrote a book. To be fair, given the current attitudes for AI stuff online, it's pretty much inevitable that anything AI generated will get a review bomb, regardless of how good it actually is. If anything, the only reason Critterz short film isn't lower even than that, probably because most people don't know about it. It only even has a 43 rating. So I don't know. Everything is happening quickly, but it's not as quick as people think, because keep in mind, most people are not on the internet, so they won't even know anything about that. Like the largest movies, this is one of the largest movies is in happening right now is Demon Slayer. It's gonna make more money than Superman probably will. 2D animation, anime, because it's a good story with good characters that you actually care about. Nothing about that, what I just watched, makes me even remotely feel that way. So there is one more thing that I am interested in. Okay. Gindi Tarta, I can never say it. I can't say names word the damn. Gindi Tartakovsky, the guy behind Samurai Jack and the Star Wars shorts that were the Clone Wars stuff that was actually pretty excellent. I guess he has a new project, so there's a trailer for it. So I thought I'd check it out. All right, leaks Black Knight footage in hopes of getting it studio backing. A few years ago, Warner Bros. Acquired Genndy Tartakovsky R-rated animated fix, but a dog's wild last night before being neutered. But CEO David Zaslav shelved it, the completed 2023 film, and a cost-cutting move. So they later regained the project and chopped it around, and finally Netflix streamed it this summer. Unlike Tartakovsky is again having issues, but with his next film, and the animator took to Instagram post footage. Right, he took to Instagram, to post footage of a long gestating animated project called The Black Knight that he's been developing for years. In his post, Tartakovsky admits that sharing this footage might get me in trouble, but he's willing to risk it in hopes of breathing new life into the film. So see, that was much better than the other thing. You can, like I said, these are tools, and hopefully we can manage to figure out how to make sure that they stay tools and not things that generate crap to people. That was amazing. And no talking, no nothing, just some action scenes. Now he's pretty good at action scenes. So most of the stuff that he's done in the past have been high, lots of action scenes. So I don't know. I guess the future will be what the future is going to be. All right, so I'm about to head out. I'm still a little tired. It's hard about doing these things on Sunday. It's like the end of my work week. So every time I do it, but and it doesn't help sitting here talking to myself. All right. Well, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, this is GNC Television, and this is the UN podcast. I haven't figured out what the UN means yet, but all right, later.